Hello to all you patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 467 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one live podcast in Canada, recorded April 6th, 2026.
We need your help. To support the Canadian Patriot Podcast, visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. Show you're not a communist and buy a CPP t-shirt for just $24.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com and follow the homepage or follow the link on the right on the homepage. There you go. I think I
Perfect.
did that right.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not even entirely sure if the web page is still there or not, but if it is, you've got the directions, so go do that. But that brings us to our favorite segment of the show, and for plausible deniability's sake, what are we drinking? And something that you've done off of the Patriot Challenge. Pierre, what are you drinking, sir?
So for right now, in our new fancy cups that Mel made, I've got a little bit of Jameson and Pepsi, and then when that runs out, I've got a new Scotch that was brought over by a buddy as we were discussing. Monkey Shoulder. It's nice because it doesn't feel like I'm sucking on swamp water.
Well, that's
Fairly
good.
decent, yeah. Which is the case for most Scotches, but Patriot Challenge. Looking at gas prices, economics, situation, everything going on, I've done a deep dive into the preps, looking at what we need to hunker down on. We're pretty good on most fronts, but coming up with a game plan and things I want to elaborate on that I might not do this weekend, but we have set plans and motions for when warmer weather comes up. Potentially finding some land that is away from most people and going to try a few things out that are 100% legal. But working on communications, um, concealment, uh,
Yeah,
rucking, the types of things that'll probably come into effect at
yeah,
a good cause.
for hunting when you need to put food
Yeah,
on your table.
right. And then
Yeah,
did a deep dive with Darius from the other CPP a little while ago, and he was like, "I'll come out for a hunt." And I was like, "Well, my daughter's 13. I've got dogs. By the time my daughter gets to an age, my dogs will probably not be around anymore. So also need to plan ahead of,
yeah,
doing well, like you've talked to Darius about those hunts. Like it's gonna be in the mountains, the Rockies. So gonna make a plan for the next few years of working up on the cardio a little bit, maybe getting a little bit better gear than I have now. But yeah, definitely want to go out there for a week or two hunt, trying to debate if I'm gonna fly out or just take a month off and like drive out, do a week or two of hunting. Because
yeah,
if it's a successful hunt, how you getting 300 pounds of meat home without
yeah,
breaking the bank,
yeah,
right? So yeah, like I'm like, okay, and talk to Claude and everybody, and he's down for it. So I'm like, maybe we can put this in plan for the next few years from now, right? Like
yeah.
obviously not in a few months, but yeah, but there's
Oh, but
still
that
going to
gives
be
you
a lot of
time to,
prep
yeah,
work.
like put the budget aside and like plan all the things, and like especially if you're going as a group, like it takes time to coordinate all of that. Like
Yeah, right. Do we just
it's easy
hook
for
up?
you to just fuck off and do what you want when you want, but when it's like, let's get multiple people all
Yeah,
coming from like maybe slightly different areas of the country,
yeah.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
becomes
like
a thing.
I could pick up Claude on the way from here, right? But like, I've
Yeah,
got a wife, I've got a daughter, I've got
yeah,
dogs, I've got animals, right? So it's like, okay,
yeah,
well, if I need, do I call my sister or call a friend to come? Okay, you come to my house for
yeah,
this week, and then on Sunday, my brothers are gonna show up, and he's gonna be here for a week, and then my sister, and then another friend, right? So all those things where I'm like, maybe, I mean, ideally, I would love to go this year, but yeah, just
yeah. It's a lot
starting
to
to
plan
plan.
and budget,
Yeah,
and yeah. So
yeah.
yeah,
Do we just rent a trailer or one of those campers you can rent for, at that point, who cares if it costs four
yeah.
grand? Drive out, drive back. Do I take my own vehicle? Do I take my own camper? How do we Yeah, so
Yeah,
lots
there's a
of
lot.
logistics to figure out. But yeah, it's the plan for three,
Nice.
4 or 5 years from now. So
Yeah,
uh yeah, get the ball rolling on that and you know,
great.
work on stuff until then and then hopefully I'm still allowed to travel past 50 minutes from where I live at that point, from the government's point of
Well,
view.
but that's where the aforementioned practice might come in handy, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, just getting an early start on the huge purge of the cleaning, which this year has been a giant success with how many garbage bags I've thrown out at the shop in my dumpster.
Nice.
Yeah, I took some time off. So me and Mel have been together 15 years, 3 years married. Um, 2 weeks ago. So yeah, we did that, sit and relax time, but early start of just purging, daughter's room, bring all your clothes down. Do you not like this anymore? Don't care, throw it out, all that stuff. Same with the wife, same with my clothes, like all the stuff we've just been holding on for years. We're starting to purge, and it's been a giant success on
Nice.
my point of view
That's
for how the house
yeah.
is. So, yeah,
No,
it's a
that's
start.
good. Awesome.
What about you?
I am drinking a couple of cans of Stella Artois this evening.
Mm,
Patriot Challenge stuff. On track with my reading for the year, so that's good. For the last 4 weeks, I have been back on tracking my water intake. So for the last 4 weeks, for sure, I have definitely had at least 2 liters of water every day, if not more.
yeah.
Um, I've also been working on kind of my fitness, but more my mobility than my fitness. I've been
You doing
noticing that,
yoga?
like, I mean, stretching, like a lot of stretching to the point where, like, I
Yeah.
actually, like, just my legs have been fucked for the last several months, if not like a year. And like, I go see like my massage therapist and all of that, and like,
Yeah.
but it just never seems to like really get
It,
things
it,
loosened up.
yeah, no, it
So
just like pushes that thing, right? Like it just makes it
yeah,
okay,
it
but like
relaxes it for a bit, but like
yeah.
it never goes back to normal. So I
Hmm.
actually signed up to try one of those like active stretching places where like somebody stretches you. So yes, I am getting paid to get stretched out. Not in the way that the government does it to me,
No.
but in a way that's
Um,
actually beneficial to me. But like,
have you done it? Like, have you done a few things?
yeah, three of
Like a
them
few
now.
sessions or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, how is it? As gay as it
it's
sounds.
it's super weird. Like
Yeah.
I mean, when I used to do like competitive sports in high school and stuff like that, like occasionally, like, before and after we would practice or have a game, like we would
Hmm.
do the stretches. And like for some of them, like we would stretch with a partner because it's easier, right?
Yeah.
So it's not something I'm unfamiliar with, but it is also weird that you're like laying on this like not a massage table, but like kind of like a padded table in the middle of a room with a bunch of other tables and people laying on the tables and somebody like
Grabs your leg and
yeah, and
like
it's like
almost your
like they're
crotch.
like on top of you like pushing your leg as far as it will go and stuff
In the
like
first
that.
in the first two sessions, all you're thinking is like, don't fart.
Basically, yes, especially that was the last go around like last week when I went. I definitely had some farts in there and I was like, "Oh God, please don't do
Yeah.
this." But I was good.
Yeah.
I did not drop one. I was a
Yeah.
little worried though. But
Yeah, no, because I mean,
yeah.
you're a little bit older than me, but like I feel it some mornings.
Yeah.
And also today I found out one of the guys I was talking to with work, so my benefits will pay for gym memberships.
Nice.
So I'm
If that's
like,
the case, you should absolutely take them up on
oh,
that because yeah,
yeah.
like it helps. But yeah,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
been doing that, once a week, going to see someone to stretch me properly and increase my range of motion from, sore old man to like at least where it should be.
Yeah. It's just like, okay, I
And
can
on
do
my right
be
leg, it took like 2 sessions to get my leg to go from where it was at to the normal that everyone should be able to achieve. So
Yeah.
I'm slowly getting there. It is working, but yeah, it's a little weird.
Yeah,
But I
that's good.
also like every day I have to go and do my stretching homework. So, but it's making me accountable, which is always the big thing about all of this.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's hard to, when it's just like, just do this thing, which is why I use the trackers on my phone to do that because I like getting my little gold stars. Even if they're virtual gold stars, I still get
Yeah.
that little thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, I've been
Yeah.
meditating every day as well to help reduce my stress levels because those are high. But
Mm.
just doing things like that. So, and
Living with women will do that,
yeah,
allegedly.
well, and
Allegedly.
I know it's been a while since we've had a show because like life has been busy for everyone. But
Yeah.
yeah, we were gonna have a show last week, and then as I was sitting down to go over the show notes that I had prepared, and this is kind of a funny story altogether. I was sitting here and I'm
Yeah.
like, why does it smell like cat piss? And then I remembered that I had locked my cat into the basement the other night, and
Yeah.
it turns out that he had pissed on one of my jackets because he's a dick. But as I'm trying to figure that out, I also hear
Yeah.
water dripping. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? At which
Yeah.
point I realize, and for the viewing audience, right here is a giant hole in my ceiling now that you
So
can't see.
we could probably
Some,
see it because of all the drywall dust on the ground.
yeah, I was gonna say this is drywall dust on the ground that I still need to clean up. Um, but yes, there was a leak in my ceiling that took me forever to fucking find. At first, I thought it was just a minor thing, but as I start looking, it's like I've opened up the ceiling a little bit, and it's like, oh, there's a duct. Okay,
Oh. Oh.
where is the water coming from? It's coming from inside the duct. Well, fuck.
uh, Yeah.
So eventually I
How's
track it
what?
all down, and it
Yeah.
turns out that because I check all the appliances first, none of them are leaking.
Hmm.
I'm looking at this duct that is now soaking, and like water is just pouring out of it onto the floor. And I'm like, I don't see any pipes anywhere near here. So I like get the tape measure out and I'm measuring to like try to figure out on the upper level where this is roughly. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is like it's my fridge. But like I checked the fridge. The fridge isn't leaking. I
Yeah. No.
checked and we have like an ice machine. So there's a line that runs to the ice machine. So I checked that, all of that. It's dry and everything in the kitchen. I check where it connects to the main line and all of that is dry and everything. And I'm like, what the fuck? So after playing around and turning water off and on and trying to like figure it all out, it turns out that it is that line, but it's
Yeah.
not at the connection points. It's just somewhere in the middle of that line at
Yeah.
some point, it developed a hole.
Yeah. Like just randomly somewhere you haven't looked and they were like, yeah, it's
Well, and
leaking.
I
It's
can't
not
look
leaking there.
because it's buried in the ceiling. And so I'm not
Yeah.
even entirely sure that that is the problem, but I turned off that line because there's a little petcock valve on it, and this leak stopped. So I'm assuming that it's that line
Yeah. I
because we've
mean,
run all the appliances and everything is fine and it hasn't leaked
yeah.
since I did that.
Yeah.
But it was a real pain in the ass trying to figure that out.
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
such a pain. I I
Yeah.
love home renos and hate
Yeah.
them at the same time.
Well, yeah, and
Like,
so now I have to do the one thing that I can't fucking stand, drywalling. And I got to
oh,
fucking mud and sand to
oh,
repair this
bro,
fucking pan.
just pay someone.
I
I
mean, it's one sheet, so I
there
might.
there are two
Like,
things, right? Extensive drywall and
yeah,
sewage are the
yeah.
two things I will pay someone for. I
Yeah.
will pave my own driveway. I
Oh,
will landscape. I will
yeah.
run new water, new plumbing. I'll do flooring. I'll
Yep.
rip a house down to two by
Yeah, no,
fours,
but drywalling,
reframe.
fuck. And
I
it's
will
not
put
even
drywall
like,
up.
yeah,
I
it's
won't
the
mud.
mudding, the taping and mudding is the
Oh,
part that I can't stand. And that's going to
yeah.
be the hardest part because it's like,
A
of course,
ceiling.
and it's not even, it's flat. It's not flat there. There's a bulkhead. And that's what's drywalled is the
Oh,
bulkhead. So like it's ceiling and then it drops down. and then it goes flat again, and that flat part is where the leak is, and then that
Yeah.
immediately goes back up to the normal
Yeah.
ceiling
You
height.
can
So
find
like,
someone on Facebook for like $200 to do a better
yeah,
job than you can do with a
yeah,
lot
so
less
fuck it.
headaches.
That's probably what's going to happen. But yeah, so I've got to practice all of the things whether I wanted to or not.
Yeah,
Yeah, so now I am practicing drinking because, well,
that'll happen with house
yeah,
rentals.
exactly. We'd love your feedback about the show. I'm not sure if we have any of these things anymore, but feedback at CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. We're still on iTunes, I think. If we are, drop us a
Let us
like and a
know.
comment. Yeah,
Yeah,
let us
at
know.
the email, as long
Yeah,
as the email works.
yeah,
If not, join
or
the
just log, yeah,
Discord.
join the Discord or hop on to the live.
Yeah.
Hello to my friend Mickey out there. I see that he is on and watching. So what's up, buddy? Good to virtually see you. I hope things are going well.
Bonjour.
Um, shall we get into the news?
The sadness?
Yeah,
Yes.
the ridiculousness. Yeah. So I guess the first thing, let's talk about the gun buyback, the firearms confiscation
Uh,
program, or whatever you want to call it. Um, so the voluntary compensation program for the assault style firearms has ended on March 31st. As of February 20th, 32,000 firearms had been collected.
yeah, have been declared.
Declared, sorry, yes, declared. It was then 51,000 like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And now the final number they're saying is 67,000 firearms from some over 26,000 participants. So basically, anyone that is participating is turning in two firearms,
Okay.
roughly. Roughly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So the discount account for any businesses? Or
no,
this is
this
strictly
is
civilian, like
that. Yeah, this is strictly
civilian, quote unquote, right?
the ones in the hands of individuals. The
Okay.
business thing is totally separate.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
we aren't buffing numbers.
No, no, no. Yeah, no, this is totally individuals. Now, those numbers are not vetted in any way per se.
Why would you have to vet anything with the government?
Well, so this is so there's only certain things that are eligible for the program.
And so anything you ban needs to be eligible. Now,
Well,
we can
but so
talk
it's
about
it's
compensation.
the compensation thing. So there are people that have put these declarations in, of which there are 67,000-ish items,
Yes.
but they have to go through that list and make sure that of those 67, they're all eligible for compensation. We don't know that
Right.
until they've done that. So it's possible that
Yeah.
people have just like registered
A,
nonsense.
a random shot
Or, yeah,
410 shotgun that their great
yeah. So
grandfather
there will
gave
be
to him.
no money
And
for
there's been,
things that are not eligible. Not
yeah,
that there's going to be money for anything, anyways, but 67,000. So even if we take that number as everything is on the list,
eligible.
the government number that they are saying of the firearms that were out there is, where was it? Number? They're a little all over here. Government estimate of 150,000. So roughly a third of what the government says is out there has been voluntarily put into this
Announced.
program.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, there are some discrepancies in this estimate. 150,000 firearms is probably the number that they know about that is
Due
out
to
there.
registration.
So the formally restricted items is probably that number.
Yeah.
Industry estimates are somewhere closer to 518,000.
Yeah.
But the CCFR and other people, because of the whole non-restricted thing, are saying that it's probably a lot closer to 2 million firearms that
I
are
mean,
on the list.
right. So I mean, they're probably not wrong because with all the things changed, like some of the stuff they banned was just
Oh,
outside of most people's price range,
yeah.
right? And restricted.
Yeah, I mean, and
But
there was
then,
stuff that like, on the fucking rocket launchers and other
yeah,
nonsense like
yeah,
that,
like
right?
like we banned a bunch of stuff, and I was like, yeah, but I could never own a 40 millimeter grenade launcher to start with. But like now, oh, now it's on this ban list. I was like, yeah, but I couldn't own it, right? But like, you're talking the Keltec, the Ruger PC-9,
Yeah,
um, that's all I can think of right now. But like, there's lots of options that were not on any restricted
yeah,
list, bro, that
yeah,
were available. Everyone could purchase, may or may not still have in their household, depending if they
yeah.
had boating accidents or they sold
Well,
it
and that's
to
just it, right? Like
um,
with the
Bald Eagle on the
non-restricted,
reserve.
yeah, with non-restricted items, like I
Yeah,
mean, they could go to the import list because those are a thing. So when they were originally imported, they would know how
yeah,
many they're out there, and they
yeah.
would get a much
So there's
better accurate number. But 150,000 is way, way, way too low. And I would even say that 518,000 is still
way
low.
too low. I have a
But
feeling they have 518,000 and m
yeah,
more in the two right ones I
yeah,
mentioned that were
yeah.
non-restricted previous to
Well,
this ban
exactly, right?
in this
And
country.
but even if you go with their number of 150,000 and one third they are touting this as a success when like if I have a third of something that's less than one half for those that don't math well.
Yeah.
Like that like if a pass is 50% and more, that
Yeah.
is not a pass. That is a
Well,
fail.
if you
But
want your red seal, you got to get above 70. I'm
yeah,
just saying.
right?
Or
Like
80. It's
yeah,
either 70 or 80. I can't
yeah,
remember. Right? So I'm like,
exactly.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
this
if you
is
want your
not
red seal for this,
yeah. Do you want your doctor to be in the, bottom one third of the class and call that a
or
pass?
or the
Or
top, but it doesn't
yeah,
matter. They're still considered doctor,
yeah.
right? Like,
But so originally there was also 250 million in compensation for this. But secretly, not too long ago, through budgetary
oh,
nonsense, it has been dropped to 64.8 million.
how
Kudos to
much do you
Caliber
get?
Magazine for finding that little nugget.
Yeah, how much would you get compensated for an HK 416?
Well, according to the internet, $2. The
Two.
same that you would get for a Type
A
81.
a Type 81. So a
Yeah,
$4,000 rifle,
yeah, $2.
ballpark,
Yeah,
$2.
yeah. So of this 250 now 64.8 million, a bunch was given to Cape
Government
Breton,
fees. Oh,
Halifax,
yes.
Waterloo. 12.4 million of this capped amount has been given to Quebec as a province.
Oh, that's
And
good.
all of that comes out of that capped amount that has now been reduced. And then of what's left of it, they will pay
Whoever they catch.
up to 136,000 firearms. But luckily for them, that was not the case. There's only 67,000 firearms.
Yes.
Um,
So we're ahead.
yeah, so I still don't think anyone is going to get any money, at least not any meaningful amount for what they have done. The Halifax Chief of Police, Chief McLean, says he sees the buyback as an extension of the same program that police already do. So over the last year, Halifax destroyed 156 guns voluntarily surrendered by owners.
Right.
So like grandpa
So
dies, nobody wants his shotgun, it gets turned into the police because no one's got a
yeah,
license,
and
things like that. Or this gun
and
don't work no more, I need to dispose of it, turn it into the police, things like that. So they
right
think that this is part of that.
and I hate to say it because I have family in law enforcement and we have had conversations, not even debates, just
Yeah.
conversations, right? Like there was a Castle Law. Like, what do you think about it being implied?
Yeah.
And family member that is in law enforcement is just like, I don't agree with it. He's like, you and me are held to the same standard. And I said, we are and we're not. I said, so you're held to a standard of like escalation of
Yeah.
use of force. But I
Yeah.
was like, at the end of the day, I was like, if someone is threatening your life, I was like, and you take your duty pistol out, you're 100% within compliant, and you
Yeah.
shoot, and that person is no longer a person, right? Like that's
Yeah.
in the obituaries. I was like, you and me can be in the same life
Yeah.
scenario, and we have two different sets of laws.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I understand where, from his point of view, he was just like, now anybody hears anything, they're gonna shoot whatever, right? So there
Yeah.
can be an abuse of the power, but I was just like,
Yeah. But
fine,
that's not how that works either, right? Like if you
yeah,
do randomly just like noise or mag dump at noises in your yard and you kill somebody, you will go to jail because that
yeah,
is
right.
yeah.
So yeah. The second he was like, I'm held to the same standard as you, and I was like, no, I was like, because
Yeah,
if
you if
you
you're
can use deadly force where I cannot.
yeah,
Right? So I'm
exactly.
like, there's two separate standards. So, and I'm like, I understand that there's going to be
Yeah.
abuse of the
Well,
law
and like
because
and
there's just
yeah.
degens
Well,
and
yeah, and
all
like I
these things.
understand that like there are people that like yeah, inherit grandpa's shotgun and have no use for it, even sentimental value, and don't want it. And
Yeah,
there should be a facility or mechanism in place for those people to
yeah,
get rid of that gun, or for people that yeah, like want guns but have one that does not work
yeah,
and need to
and
get rid of it because they don't have the money to repair it or the time or the desire to do it. And like, I would
yeah.
rather them take it to the cops or somewhere to turn it in for no
See,
money than
but
to
I
just
think,
like throw it in the garbage and like have
right,
somebody find it and then repair it. And now there's a gun out on the streets that shouldn't be.
but I personally think just due to heritage,
Yeah,
all that stuff, there should be another option
sure.
of like getting in between the cops of just being like, hey, my grandfather
Yeah,
passed
yeah,
away. None of us shoot, and he left these four guns behind.
yeah,
I don't even want money, but like, can you
yeah.
give this to someone that would just be, for
Well, yeah,
example, like, hey, there's a 303. Well, my great grandfather had a 303 and I never
yeah,
got to got that gun and all these things, right? Like, so like before the destruction,
sure. A
there
mechanism
should
in
be a
place to
medium.
to
Yeah.
give it to somebody that would want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
fine with that too. But like
And
ultimately, I think yeah, there needs to be at the
something.
end of a line something somewhere that will take that. And I'm not talking about the confiscation program. That's different. But just in the
No,
regular
that's different.
everyday
Yeah.
life for
Yeah.
people that
Hey,
just have this thing and they don't want it no more and
yeah.
they can't
And bring it
give it
there.
away or sell it or
Yeah.
whatever. There
They
needs to be
like I
someone.
can't legally sell it to Gavin because I don't have a firearms license, but I can give it to this company
Yeah,
that
there should
will
be
absorb
that, but
it. And
short of
there's
that, yeah,
a 2, 3 month thing where I'm like, okay, does it move? Then
yeah,
fine, send it over to the cops and put it
yeah.
on your tally for whatever. But
Yeah, yeah.
I
But
find there's
so yeah,
too
I don't have
much
a
of
problem with like something
yeah,
like that existing. And I understand like
yes.
with funding being what it is these days for police because everyone's talking about defunding
Oh,
them, so they're not getting why people would do this. But like Halifax has signed on to this now to participate in the voluntary part, and they will be getting where is it? 654 600 we'll call it 655,000 in federal funding. So of that
okay.
64 million, they are getting paid
Okay.
$655,000 to
8%
participate in
or
the
0.1%.
collection. Yeah, in the collection process for this. But there's some other things that are at play here that people seem to be um, getting confused.
Oh,
So when Gary was talking in the last thing with the unhinged Nathalie Provost,
mm,
he was talking about off-duty police and retired police and RCMP being the ones going door to door. He was not talking about cops kicking in doors and collecting rifles. They were talking about those officers being the ones to go. and man the mobile collection points or whatever for people that have voluntarily participated in the program. A lot of people were like, oh, it's April 1 and the cops are going to kick in our doors. And it like, no, that isn't, they have no plan as of
Yeah.
right now for what they are going to do with the people that have not come into compliance with the law that ends when the amnesty ends. All of us, including those who have or have not participated in the program,
Yeah.
the voluntary program, are covered by the amnesty order that is in place.
Yep. Even though
Now,
you haven't
yeah,
said I own something you already know I have,
yeah,
you're still legally safe
yeah,
until
until that
October.
amnesty ends at the end
Yep.
of October. At that point, whether you have participated voluntarily or not, you will need to come into compliance with the law, which means you'll need to either have voluntarily participated and received whatever compensation you will get and turned it in, or turn it in to the police like you can do anyways for $0, or
Yep.
destroy it or deactivate it.
Yep.
Those are your
At
options.
at your own cost, and you
Yeah,
have to prove it's deactivated. You got to get
yeah,
specific certification,
yeah.
and everybody that I
But
mean,
yeah,
what have we seen?
come
400, $400 or $500 to deactivate?
it depends on whether you get it deactivated or destroyed and what kind of a
But
firearm it is
I'm
and all.
saying deactivated,
Yeah,
where I'm like,
if
you
you
can at
want it
least still
done
have it out.
nicely, it will cost more money. And I think
Yeah.
they have, if you participate in the program, they will give you up to $400 to deactivate something.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're going to pay all of that on your own and all of that. But if you want to destroy something, that is much cheaper to do because all the gunsmith
Yes.
has to do is like take the old angle grinder or chop saw and just go and it's done.
Yeah.
But those are
Which I
all
mean,
different things.
I
But
have
yeah,
one of those.
yeah.
I mean, I won't do
And
it, but
and
I
for
could make
anything that is
millions.
non-restricted that you may or may not own, legally you are allowed to destroy it yourself for those things.
Yep. Or
Yeah,
learn drywall skills as we were
yeah.
talking about
But yeah,
previously.
but come November 1, they have not announced. They have threatened that like everyone needs to be in compliance and that like even the police that have not participated in the program, and this is where things also get confused. People think that the cops that have signed on to not participate in the voluntary program are also not going to arrest
Not,
you come November 1. They absolutely will. Now, I don't think that doors are going to get kicked in on November 1. I think it's going to be like, hey, we know you have this restricted item. You did not turn it in and we have not received paperwork.
yeah,
Your license is now invalid and you are now in violation of the law, and then the cops might come eventually, or even more likely it's you're just going to get
right.
pulled over for speeding and it'll be flagged in the system at some point and you'll just get
Yeah,
pulled out of the car and arrested then,
or
or
just flagged for being on
yeah,
the road, right? Like,
yeah, or you like
yeah,
leave the country, come back, they run your passport when you enter again, and like something like that where they
right.
get
So,
you without having to kick your doors in. At least that's how I would do it so that I wasn't, at risk of getting shot.
yeah, yeah, I wasn't 100% at risk,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we're getting into the weird lines of like, if you got restricted, like,
Yeah.
when's your renew date?
Exactly. Right. And
Right?
now
And
I know
we've
people
had
that, yeah.
discussions. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've had discussions of people like, hey, it took a lot longer, some people shorter, some people still waiting, and is like,
Yeah.
you
But I
know,
know other
eh,
people that like have restricted items, have not participated in the program and
and
had to
good.
reapply and got it like that. So
Yeah.
the whole
Eh,
PAL
eh,
renewal thing is, I think, is random to begin with anyways.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it 100% is. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
have any glitches with mine when it happened a few years
Yeah.
ago. Um, I didn't have
Yeah.
my restricted, so I didn't have to worry about any of that. But yeah, it's coming up, and
Yeah.
even though there's technically no gun registry, certain firearms may be or may
Yeah.
not be under a
Depending on
certain
when you purchased them and
license.
how, yeah, they might have some ability to see some of that. So yeah, just,
Yeah,
But luckily, the Superior Court has taken up the appeal.
Yep.
And if
Yep.
that appeal is still in court, there is a good chance the amnesty order will get extended. So if you
Yes.
mistakenly participated in the voluntary portion of the program, you can withdraw. It's a quick phone call. Tell them that you wish to withdraw, and you will be withdrawn from the program. You will still need to come into compliance with the law, but you will be out of that. Although at this point, they will continue to push that 67,000 firearms, whether that's the end number or not. But, if you
Yeah.
feel like it, you can still do that. And I would
And you'll
encourage that.
probably still get an email from the RCMP with all
Yeah.
caps yelling at you.
Yes, absolutely you will.
But
Um, yeah. And
but
now
yeah.
for, something that was even more of a shit show than the assault style firearms compensation program,
Ooh, yes,
the
let's get into
NDP
that.
leadership race.
Oh, fuck me.
I don't want to
I
get like too into the weeds on this one, but
uh,
I found the whole thing hilarious. Um,
bro, is this the one where I had a card that I could get
yes,
ahead of? So
yes,
if I said I wanted to be a girl, I could get ahead of
yes.
you to talk?
So there was a couple of things that happened at the NDP leadership race that happened a little while ago. Because we haven't had a show, we're catching up on old news. Sorry, deal with it.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, deal with it, because
yes,
this is gonna be hilarious.
but yes, there was an incident. So during the convention, a delegate was interrupted by the chair, who was a non-binary activist, they
Hmm.
them, for using the traditional title Madam Chair.
Oh, that's a
So
no.
so the delegate and the chair are both non-binary and
But the chair
couldn't get
has 4 posts.
yeah, but the non-binary individual misgendered the other non-binary individual, and it started a whole thing.
Yeah, but two
Um,
negatives make a positive, according to
yes,
math.
so the chair had to speak out and say that they would thank all of the delegates to not call them Madam Chair, and that they
But
are
just they
non-binary,
chair,
and that their pronouns are they, them, and their. So chair is sufficient.
their
So
chair, them chair, or they chair.
no, no, just chair,
I'm
just
just
chair.
yeah, but
That's fine.
chair
It's like
chair
they're a
is the
celebrity,
thing.
like Cher. It's singular, or Bono, or any of
It's
the other.
Madonna. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
exactly. Just
Madonna,
just
right? Like
chair. So
just
like that was
Madonna.
the one thing
Okay.
where you have one person that is non-binary now misgendering somebody else that is non-binary. So even they can't seem to get it right.
Yeah.
Um, and then on top of that ridiculousness, there is more ridiculousness surrounding all of this because they
Oh,
had,
please go on.
yeah, gender equity cards, not gender equality cards, equity
Yeah.
cards,
Yeah,
where
equity.
they had dudes
Yeah.
and
Go
then
on.
everyone else.
Yeah.
So if you identified as a dude,
Yeah. You'd
which
be at the
I,
bottom of the stack.
yes, which I am assuming means that, you were the dude from the Big
Yeah.
Lebowski. But if you identified as a dude, rather than going for what is the most fair process, so the best for equality, which would be like you get to ask your question or say your thing
Yeah.
in the order in which you show up.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I got here first.
Yeah,
You
I
showed
get
up.
to speak first.
Yeah.
And then it just that goes second person speaks second and so on and so forth. If you had a card that was something other than dude,
Yeah. You got to
you
bump
got
the dude.
you got to jump the line.
Yeah.
But then even
So
that was confusing and caused some issues. And it was commented that like this is the only place where these cards actually have any meaning.
right.
So they acknowledge that it is made up and it's not a real thing and that like it's sort of stupid.
Yeah, and then I saw the video for one person, you get a minute to talk or whatever.
Yeah.
And they ended up arguing. They were like, well, I was standing here and then someone else, I had this card and the person that spoke before me had this card.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about yourself for allowing that person to talk before me?
Yes, but that's the problem when you have some sort of like victim hierarchy card system that like how do you rank that? Like,
Yeah,
okay, so like straight white male is at the bottom of the list,
yeah,
but
but
then you
like,
have like straight white female
yeah, but
and
because there's
straight
white
black
in it,
female, like
but
who like but then
but
you
is
have
just
gay
white
black
always at the
man
bottom?
and
Is
gay
just
white
white always
man
at the bottom?
and it's just at what point like does one thing outweigh the other thing and like it
Yeah,
starts to get
yeah, and it's
absolutely insane.
yeah, I've like
Yeah,
trust me, I don't like this is mostly how I get my news, right? The shit
yeah,
talking on Mondays, potentially some Sundays when and if we get back to that other CPP, um, but it's just like I've seen a few videos where it's just like, yeah, people will just be like, well, I had my green card out, and you allowed the yellow card to talk before me.
yeah,
Like, what do you have to say about that? And I was like, really? Like, you're standing here and you can, like, say something, whether everybody agrees with it or not. But I'm like, you can post your ideological views and have a conversation where someone can rebuttal back of a party that you may want to represent you at some point. And I'm like, and you're literally going to use it as a like, well, according to your standards, I should have talked before the person that talked
yeah.
before me. And I'm just
So
like, ah, fuck. I
yeah,
just, I just feel bad.
yeah.
Like,
It's the
like,
whole thing is just like it's nonsense. It's all made up. Just they should have just
yeah,
the first person to show up is the first
yeah.
person to speak, and then it follows there
Keep it,
because that is the most
yeah.
fair
Keep it the
system.
same as Best Buy 10 years ago.
Yeah,
If you fucking showed up at midnight and you were first in line, you were the first person in the store.
yeah,
It didn't matter
yeah.
if you did butt stuff with your girlfriend.
Yeah,
You don't get
because
to show up at fucking
it's not
6:30
relevant. Yeah, like
and
just
and get into the store at
yeah, it's not
7,
how real life
right? Like,
works. And
yeah.
like
And
yeah, it's
yeah,
and so
it's
with all of that nonsense going on, and then like the NDP being fully on board with it because it's their leadership race and they put that forward.
is it also because
They
they
go
want to
ahead and
fit in a
elect
minivan?
yeah, all, they go ahead and elect a straight white male who is like a trust fund kid, so rich. So like
Yeah.
the party for the workers goes and like has all of this thing to like provide equity for like minority groups, continues to go ahead and elect the same thing that they have effectively elected all the time, other than Jagmeet, who wasn't white, but like all the things that are the evil in the world,
Yeah.
they elect. Although I will say that I guess this guy is slightly part of a minority group in that he is Jewish, which is makes it equally weird that like immediately upon winning the thing they start flying Palestinian flags and everything. But we won't get into all of that.
Yeah.
But here we are, the party that is for the minorities goes and basically elects
But
everything
uh,
that is
d-
wrong with the
d-
world, the straight white male with money.
is it also
So he should
there
be the
and
last one to speak at anything because, he only has a dude card. Or does
but
now,
is
because
it
he's the
also
party leader, he gets a special dude card? Like,
or is it because he likes the minivan where it's two in the
yeah,
front and five in the back?
yeah. Well, yes, it's absolutely ridiculous, ridiculous, and all of that. But he does acknowledge in his thing that like there has been a lot of separation in the party and like all of the things, especially with like recently an NDP candidate crossing the floor and becoming a liberal. and just division in general amongst this, that, and everything else. And then the arguing
Wolf it.
over these equity cards. But yes, the leadership race was a giant shit show.
Yeah.
Shocking. I know.
I mean, I disagree with everything with the NDP, and I have a feeling I would be a better candidate
Yeah.
considering everybody that's running for NDP leadership.
Well, that would
And
be
I
because
disagree
you
with
you
everything.
actually you actually
I
work for a living and you are the every
look,
working man.
I disagree with, I will say, 95% of all their policies,
Yeah.
but there are very like small hairs you can pull out of everything where I'm like, oh, I understand why the NDP was formed and why
Yes.
it's there. But like, I,
Yeah,
like
I
now
know.
we're getting into a whole thing that we should probably not get into
No,
at
I
this
know, but
time.
it's just that's the thing. It's just
Like,
always so funny though that they are the workers' party and all of this, but then
yeah,
they continue to elect everything
and
that they say is evil in
and
society.
and none of them have showed
Yeah.
up with hands covered in dirt oil,
Yeah.
need to clean their fucking fingernails before they can have,
Yeah. They've all got
adult
Armani
time.
suits and Rolex
Yeah,
watches
yeah,
and just
like,
money, money, money. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like I I work for a living, I make good money. As a household, we make good money,
Yeah.
and even then, I pick and choose when we can buy steak, when we can buy this. Where I'm just like, oh, you're the working party. When was the last time you had to
When
pick
was
and
the last time you
choose
actually
what
worked?
you needed
Yeah.
on your groceries? Like, this
Yeah.
is what we want in the house. This is our budget.
Yeah.
What can we cut? What can we have? What can we, okay, save the rest, and then next time we can get
Yeah, well, maybe
steak.
maybe in your
And
household you should start implementing equity cards for when it comes to discussing when to buy things because maybe that will help.
yeah, but it doesn't help at the grocery store because it doesn't give me a discount,
Yeah,
right?
well,
Like,
that's
trust
the
me,
next step. Yeah.
we all eat well, don't get me wrong, but yeah, we get to the point where I'm just like,
Yeah.
ah, maybe you should have steak every seventh day instead of every fourth day because beef went up, this went up, pork went up, everything goes up. Fucking
Yeah.
cucumbers. How much are cucumbers now? How much are peppers? How much is cheese? How much is milk? Like, you
Yeah.
you went to buy a head of broccoli lately?
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. But yeah.
It's $8. $8 here in town. $8
Yeah.
for a head of
I, I
broccoli.
I've just stopped looking because like it just enrages me. Like I need to buy it anyway. Like certain things, like I gotta eat,
Yeah,
right? And there's certain things
yeah,
that like I can't not buy. So like I've just stopped. Like I just look at the total thing at the end, and
and
it
then
just
get
angers me. But if
angry
I
on
like,
the
at
way.
least I only get angry once, as opposed to getting angry every time I pick
Yeah,
something up.
angry 15 times picking up all the
Yeah,
15 products. But I'm like,
yeah,
I'm like, we're getting to the point where I'm
yeah,
like, bro, we're not far from inflation causing me to do OnlyFans.
yeah.
Like,
At which point, then you will gladly be accepted into the NDP leadership.
yeah, like, bro, I will be the front runner at that point, right? Like,
Yeah.
um,
Oh, but yeah, just so ridiculous though. Like the Workers' Party always electing some rich white guy for the most part,
yeah,
and then complaining that rich white guys are the problem. It just baffles me.
yeah,
But
bro, I'm a white guy, but I ain't rich. But
yeah,
I will tell you what's wrong and how to fix stuff.
yeah, that's the problem is you'll be too accurate and they won't like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of the NDP and floor crossers, this is just a really quick one here. They don't have a whole
Oh
lot of
boy.
info on it, but apparently there
Allegedly.
are up to 10 MPs in talks to cross floor to the Liberals. So there's still the April 13th, I think, is the by-elections for those three things that if the Liberals win all three of those, they get a majority by one seat,
Yes.
or two seats now, or whatever it is, if they get all three of them. But there was talk of them, if they don't get those, that they would prorogue, but then that got leaked, and now they've said that they won't do that if they don't get them. But that's probably because they won't have to, because now potentially there are 10 other MPs waiting to cross the floor to become liberals, which would definitely give them the majority and shift the balance of power and allow them to do whatever it is that they want to do, which is crazy because what the hell do they have on these 10 MPs to be able to like compel them to switch sides? Are they on the
Yeah, because I
Epstein
mean,
list? Are
like,
they?
like policy won't do anything. Like,
Yeah.
if you ran on a policy,
Well, clearly that
or
hasn't done anything because like days before, like what's his face? Michael Ma, I think it was, like critiqued the Carney government days before the other guy did the same and said how terrible they are and everything, yet still managed to cross because they're the better choice. So
yeah,
yeah,
and
policy's got nothing to do with it. They must have
yeah,
some sort of blackmail on these people or offering to just pay them some ungodly sum. But I don't know, interesting to see what will happen in the coming weeks with all of that. But yeah, if enough people cross the floor that it makes them a majority, that
and
will
Pierre
be
Poilievre.
yeah, it just I don't think would be democratic, and I think it should go to an actual election. But we'll see what happens.
Oh, 100%. The second, if you ran on anything
Yeah,
and you got elected being conservative, NDP, Green, independent, whatever, and you decide, hey, I want to switch sides,
it should be an
you should
automatic
not,
vote.
yeah, you should not be able to just switch sides. You should be like, hey, you guys voted for me on what I stand for, but I want to go from conservative, NDP, independent,
Yeah,
uh, PCC, like, doesn't matter what it is, and I want to go over to
yeah,
liberal, all of the things.
yeah.
Okay, by election, and if you still win or
Then
are
it's
still
fine. That's what the
successful,
people
then
want.
yeah, that's what you are meant to represent me,
Yeah,
right? At the end of the day. And that's the misconception of a lot of people have. And first past the post is a giant thing where I'm like, people will just
yeah,
vote blue,
stupid. But
red,
yeah,
purple, green, per orange, whatever, right? And I'm like, okay, let's have more transparency.
yeah.
Let's have, let's have fucking 20 NDPs, 20 fucking liberals, 20 conservatives, no fucking majority. But at least I have someone
Yeah.
that represents where I live and where the majority of people where I live say, I want this. I don't care if my representative agrees with it or not. I put you in that seat. You're there to represent not just me, but constituents of my area. You got put there by the majority of people that live here. And whether you agree or disagree with what I want you to say yes or no to, you listen to us because that is your goddamn fucking job.
Yeah.
And we need to get back to that because right now we have red and blue, and blue is not in power, so blue is hashing on everything red does. But I'm also not confident that if we put blue in power, that
Oh, that they'll
90% of
do
everything
anything.
they
Yeah,
say will
yeah,
actually, you know, come about. And and there needs to be a better system than just, well, let's just keep going with what we know.
yeah.
But, like, right, we need to separate. We've got what? Conservatives, liberals, NDP, Green, and fuck, what is it? What's Max Bernier's
Oh,
thing?
the People's
The
Party.
PCC? Yeah, the
Yeah,
PCC. Right, so we've got five things that like 90% of Canadians that vote understand. There's independents, libertarians, the communist parties, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
But
like, but
there's really
like
only three
two,
major parties.
two. There's the
But
liberals
the,
and the conservatives.
yeah, and then like the NDP is there and
It was it
everyone
was
knows
a
about them, but they never do well. Yeah.
yeah,
They
it
never do
was a
well.
thing, but now
Yes.
they can all fit in a minivan. So like,
Yeah. I
right,
think
two.
they don't even need a minivan. I think just a regular sedan at this point.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
right? Like
it's
they could
crazy.
get a crossover and get there, right? So like we've got two parties, and I'm like, there's too much distance between the two.
Yeah.
Um, like, okay, let's mention another crazy podcast, like
Yeah.
the Joe Rogan podcast with Pierre Polyev. I have giant issues with the podcast, but there's also really good things he mentions in it.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, yeah, and I've talked to people like my brother, my sister, which we have different political views. And my brother flat out said, he's like, how the fuck did that guy not win? And I was like, well, I don't disagree,
Yeah.
but also, how did he evade way too many questions, in my opinion, about like not shit talking. He was never in power and this, that. And I found it nice that Pierre Polyev was like, I'm not going to talk about, someone on foreign soil and this, that. Like, I'll keep that for
Yeah.
at home and blah, blah, blah. Like, so I found that kind of nice. But I'm just like, he's like, how did he not win with everything he said? And I was like, I don't disagree. But you and me also have way different
Yeah.
political views on things. And I'm like, if you and me agree that he should have won, like
Yeah.
we have other conversations we need to have,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
and take it with a grain of salt. A very good podcast. Also very douchey on how much he evaded way too many of the questions. Or
Yeah. But that's, I mean,
no questions, but like could have elaborated on a lot of things where I'm just like, hey, this
that's
would
a
be your time
that's a
to say,
politician politicking,
yeah,
right? Like you can't
yeah,
let, yeah.
yeah. So it was good. It was nice, well educated. Got to learn a little bit more about him that you might know in
Well, and the
general
thing I
about
like about
stuff.
those is like, I mean, it's like a 3 hour interview. So it is hard to bullshit for 3 hours. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you can evade questions all you want and this and that, but like it'll get like
Yeah.
seen for what it is. But it is hard to
Yeah.
just straight up bullshit for 3 hours, which is what
Yeah.
I like about like the long form interview podcast, like Joe Rogan, Sean Ryan, all of those people that do that
Fuck, did
is
you see the
great
new
because it's
Sean
hard.
Ryan from today that dropped?
No, but
It's
like it's
bro, it's
hard to
like a
just like,
12-hour fucking podcast. He put two
yeah,
parts out today. Like
nice.
6 hours for both of them. Delta Force
But
guy or whatever. But like, yeah, I'm like,
yeah,
bro, I'm like, it's gonna
like, could
take me
you
a week and
imagine
a
like,
half to listen to
yeah, could you
this.
imagine like Trudeau
Trying to
doing a
bullshit.
3 hour long interview? Like he would just, it would fall apart
Could
in fucking 20 minutes or less.
could you imagine an hour-long interview with him?
Well, yeah,
Uh,
but
uh,
like, and
uh, uh,
same with
uh.
Carney. I don't
Yeah,
think he would do any better at an interview
no,
of that length.
none of them.
Like, I think he is better spoken than Trudeau
Yeah.
by a lot. But I still
Oh
think that
yes,
like there's still so much bullshit coming out of his mouth that in a three
yes,
hour long interview, it would just fucking fall apart, and it would be hard for him to
yeah,
keep keep going and sound like he knows what he's talking about
yeah.
with
Like
all of his bullshit
it,
talking points.
like his talking points, I loved, but
Well, and
I,
especially
I,
like, yeah,
I,
when
I,
you have someone that's intelligent asking the questions and sort of like drilling in deeper
yeah,
on some of that stuff, it would just fall apart.
yeah,
But
and like I enjoyed the interview.
yeah,
When Joe Rogan asked the question where most Americans think this or this that, and he said all his things. Like his bullet points were fantastic, but yeah, he like I found there was too much of like trying to imply like, hey, you
yeah,
should come to Canada. You should come to Canada. Um, MMA, and what do you think about this person and that? Like there were so much where I'm like, I think you could have capitalized a lot more,
yeah,
excuse me, from even Americans that don't understand Canadian politics from any point of view. You could have, set a stage way better for Americans to just be like, well, what's going on up there? Like,
Yeah,
this guy's got a level-headed, right? Like, everything he said in that interview about all the policies he wants to put in, less government, less red tape, less this, less that. Everything he said, take away all the stuff he didn't elaborate on and all the stuff he talked about MMA with Joe Rogan or whatever.
yeah.
I'm like, I was walking around with a raging heart on. I was like, yes, yes, 100%. And I'm like, take any
Well,
logical thinking Canadian that would disagree with anything he said in there. We can talk about execution for everything of how he wants to do it, but I was like, at the end of the day, how he wants to take apart and just be like, no, let's take less red tape and put more infrastructure for that. How do we make it safe? Let's get it
yeah.
safe. Absolutely. Right. But like, take all the bullshit and wannabe excuses out of everything and just talk about the hard points of like, let's not figure out how to get to that point. Let's just say we can get to that hard point of saying, this is safe, this is good, let's execute.
Yep.
Find me anybody that would disagree with all that. So, that 20 minutes out of that 3-hour podcast, everyone will agree with,
Yep.
right? Or if not, we're gonna have giant issues.
Well,
Like,
speaking of giant issues, Air Canada employee charged after alleged weed smuggling scheme at Pearson Airport. So
oh,
police say two unsuspecting passengers who were implicated were released without charges.
is it because of the fire truck thing?
No, totally
Oh,
unrelated to that.
okay. Okay. Just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure.
Although they may have been trying to light up a giant doobie with that one. The RCMP says that Air Canada employee is facing charges after allegedly trying to export more than 60 kilograms of cannabis out of Toronto Airport by using suitcases tagged with the names of two unsuspecting passengers. So I guess an
But
employee is putting weed into passenger suitcases without them knowing and tagging the bags. And then when they would arrive on the other side, I imagine some other baggage handler would see those tags and know to go into those to find the weed.
I mean,
So there were 33 kilos of weed in each checked bag of two
wow.
German citizens scheduled to depart on a
30,
commercial flight.
33 keys?
Yeah. So like
Like we're
66
talking
pounds. Yeah.
yeah, we're talking like heavy weight to pick up.
Yeah.
Like,
Like
you know how
that
much that would cost me extra to
yeah,
fucking
like that's a
put
heavy
back?
bag right there. So
Yeah.
like I hope they tagged them with heavy
Yeah.
so that no one hurt their back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's heavy duty.
Yeah. But yes, it turns out that the
Why did
the
they do it to the Germans? The Germans have
yeah,
had a really bad bad history thing. We could give them a bump. Like
yeah,
find anybody
find anyone
else
else, yeah.
except for Germans.
But apparently the passengers didn't actually check bags in, which is how the whole thing kind of got found out.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Well,
that makes sense then.
but yes, they a lot of smuggling seems to be going on
Yeah, I'm
uh,
gonna let the puppies out. I'm still
with
alright, don't worry.
with Air Canada. It seems, yeah, the gold thing and now a weed thing is not good. Um, but yeah, 66 plus pounds of weed in a suitcase times two is a lot of weed.
Yeah, like I don't dabble in the devil's lettuce. My wife does, and like we'll get stuff from like legal, semi-sort of not legal places.
Yeah,
Um, but like it just seems like a lot of volume.
yeah.
66 pounds
Yeah,
of
like
weed.
the
Like
most
even
weed I've
vacuum
ever
sealed.
had in my possession at one point in time, theoretically, allegedly, maybe, was an ounce.
Yeah, and
And
like
that was a fair amount of weed.
yeah, and like just
More,
volume
more than I
size.
could
Maybe
ever
not weight.
need in a day. Yeah.
Yeah, but like not even talking about like volume, like or sorry,
Yeah.
weight wise. We're talking volume wise
Yeah. That's
at
like
this
an
point, right?
entire
Like,
suitcase, probably. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. But also,
easily,
yeah. But also,
if not
speaking
more.
of Air Canada,
Okay.
the CEO,
Oh,
Michael Rousseau,
yes.
is set to retire later this year following the
Oh,
language controversy. So, as we kind of alluded to with the fire truck comment, there was an Air Canada flight that collided with a fire truck, and I believe both pilots died.
yes.
Um, the
I
CEO goes on to do, like a press
like
release and like our thoughts are with the family kind of, condolence speech as is sort of expected of him.
yes.
And he did the speech in English only. And that apparently is a problem. Um, there were some,
Also, the pilots, one of them from Montreal and one of them was French. Or, sorry, the other one was French. So
fair,
it apparently was rude because the Quebecers somehow felt offended,
fair.
which I don't agree with.
Yeah.
I don't agree with.
I
Like,
mean, yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean,
in reality, in this world that we live in, and given that like it is a national company and their people were from that part of our country and all of that, despite it happening in New York, where English is the only official language, although maybe not in New York these days. But
yeah.
whatever, like the guy gave a statement expressing
Yeah,
condolences to the family and
yeah.
all of that.
So,
But
like,
then, like,
with their,
everyone just shit on this guy for not also delivering the same thing in French.
yeah, and I mean, okay, fine. I mean, he went out, he said, "Hey, condolences." Like,
Yeah,
fine. I unfortunately don't speak your language. Does not mean you're not qualified to do the job
yeah,
of CEO, right? Like, so for a very small portion of the country, you need to speak French. Air Canada, defined the pilots were technically, allegedly French.
yeah,
Um, Ideally, it would be nice, but you not being able to say my condolences, um, sorry this has happened, or we need to do better, we're gonna get whatever, all the things that people would say in this
yeah,
scenario, um, should not be a yay or nay on him being qualified to
yeah.
run the
Well,
company.
but and like the reaction from like fine, people are allowed
But
to be upset
yeah,
about it or whatever
yeah.
for any reason. But like the political outrage over this got absolutely insane.
Oh, it's
So
bro,
yeah,
retarded.
yeah. Carney said that there was a lack of judgment and compassion. Uh,
Yeah,
Yves
I mean,
Francois Blanchette said that it demonstrated a sad and gross lack of respect for the
yeah,
family.
yeah.
Um,
Le Québécois, tabarnak.
yeah,
You know,
the premier Francois Legault answered or called for his resignation,
yeah,
and apparently the Quebec National Assembly introduced a motion calling for his resignation.
yeah.
Um, some other people came to his defense. Alberta Premier Jason Kenney was among those who defended him, saying
Hmm.
that executives' time would be
Yeah,
better spent on safety and reliability of services than language training.
yeah.
Um,
I don't disagree.
yeah, but by the end of the week after through this, he was summoned to Ottawa for an appearance in front of the official languages committee.
But like, the fact we have a committee that is that, I have a giant issue with. How much you
Well,
think that costs?
oh, I'm far too much for what it does. But like,
Yeah,
this isn't like
Like
this
it's
isn't Air Canada operating as a business in English only, right? Where like this language committee would come because we are bilingual and businesses have to do, bilingual things and all
it's
of that and all of,
and,
and they're not
but the
talking
guy
like the guy did a condolence speech that is not part, like he doesn't have to do that. There is nothing
no
in his job requirement that
no
says that he has to do
I
that.
mean
It is the
that
right
guy,
thing to do.
yes, but he could have not said anything.
Yeah.
And like, fine, they would have hounded him, but I'm like, technically, that's not part of his job requirement,
Yeah. There is
right?
nothing
Like,
that like there is no reason that would have compelled him to do this legally. He did it
no,
because it's the right thing to
yeah,
do. And here
and
he is getting shit on because he didn't do it in French too. Like maybe he doesn't fucking speak French at all.
yeah,
And
but
like him bumbling through it would have also been called
that
disrespectful to the
would have
family or
been just
whatever.
as
But like
bad, if
the
not
fact that he
worse.
got called into some fucking committee for this when it is not a business thing, it's like, I'm sorry that this happened, and
Yeah,
we're expressing like is just insane. Like this is the thing that we're wasting time and money on in this country, like when there are much bigger fucking problems.
yes,
And this whole
right.
like it's essential that the next CEO of Air Canada be bilingual, the Prime Minister told reporters.
Yeah, I mean,
Why?
like,
Why does he
oh,
have to be bilingual?
I'm bilingual, but
Well, there you go.
also,
There's a job
due,
opening you can apply for.
but also due to many things I have said on
Yeah.
this podcast that is on the
But
archives of
yeah. But here's
the
the thing though.
CTP podcast, I
Yeah.
will never get the job,
Yeah.
and I don't have the experience
Yeah, but you're
and this
bilingual, so
that.
like you've got that going for you. And like this
Yeah,
is the
I mean,
crazy thing is that now they're going to preference somebody that is
yeah.
bilingual over someone that is potentially more capable of doing the job that is not
So,
bilingual.
as long as at the end of the day, my opinion, right, which is nothing like the government, what's the requirements for the job? Um, Speaking French would be an asset.
Yeah.
Fine, you can put speaking French is mandatory on the job requirement. Um,
Yeah. But is it
which
though?
at yeah, you can put it on the requisite, but if a candidate shows up that is 1,000 times better that doesn't speak French,
Yeah. Or what if one shows up that
that should
only speaks French?
right? So job criteria, right? Like so, like so I've been working for the company I've been working for 10 years. I've got lots of benefits, vacation, per diems, all this. I am openly looking for options, but I can be picky. I'm
Yeah.
not laid off.
Yeah.
This is what I offer, right? I have this, I have that. I'm
Well,
bilingual. I'm French English.
I'd say you
And,
put in your resume, dude. It's
like,
the worst thing they'll
right.
say is no.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I have had two really good,
Yeah.
like fantastic, where I'm just like, I'm actually looking at my phone every 20 minutes for an email or a phone call or a text or whatever. And both of them have been like, we've put the position on hold.
What?
And I'm like, you have my info. If, you know, business is shifted and we got to concentrate more here than where you are. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I get it. But don't disregard me. If I see your fucking post without something coming my way, I know you're
Yeah.
full of shit in a conversation, right? Like, I'm a no bullshit person, and I've been where I am for 10 years, and I'm like, I've tried to move past where I am, but you and me have had many, many conversations where I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm not a yes man.
Yep.
And where I currently reside for work, they are way more looking for yes man.
Yeah.
Right? Like, no problem,
Unfortunately, that
boss.
is
Like,
is a lot of places.
yeah, yeah,
But
and and I'm trying to put it out there that I'm just like, you need to break that
uh,
because I currently have a boss, good friend of mine. I don't disagree with 90% of what he does, but
uh,
that 10% is a really big 10%,
yeah,
right?
sometimes yeah,
Like
it's a minority,
it's
but it's a
yeah,
sore point.
it's a small part of the
Uh,
margin, but I'm like it's also
well,
like it's even though it's
uh,
10%, it's 90%, right?
yep.
Like
Well, yeah,
yeah,
it's the princess and the pea, right? Like it's a little thing that you could feel it, and sometimes it blows up into a big thing, which I
yeah, and
guess
it's
is
just
not being bilingual in this case blew up into a big
yeah,
thing.
in this
But
case, right?
yeah,
But
well,
yeah.
apparently though, looking at the chat here, the governor general apparently cannot speak French, and Carney got caught with his office answering machine in English only. So maybe they should all be dragged in front of said tribunal
So
as well.
all I'm hearing is because I'm bilingual, I can be the governor general and the prime minister.
Well, that and also
Uh,
apparently
don't get me wrong, I don't want the job, but it's an
66
option.
pounds of weed would be an entire chunk of the cargo hold.
Yeah, like weed does not weigh much. Like,
Yeah, there would be a lot. Yeah,
like
but also, yeah,
this is
shout out to the chat. Let's acknowledge those people while I'm looking at some names
yes.
here.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Brandon, Jeff, and then Hardkiss 650, however you pronounce that. Thanks for your support and all
I
the
mean,
things and tuning in live. This is why we do it all. Otherwise, it would just be two drunks talking on the internet. So we do it all for you guys.
so it also makes it less awkward for me and Gavin to have eye
Yeah,
contact when there's other people involved.
yes, exactly. You could
But
be the
also,
bridge in our Eiffel Tower.
yeah, but also Brandon does bring up a good point.
Yeah,
French is in the second language in Canada.
it's I don't
I
even think
mean,
English is the second language in this country anymore. But more
you're not wrong.
ridiculous, yeah, more ridiculous things. Going to
Yeah.
Toronto.
Ooh.
Toronto City Council voted to move forward with a concept rarely seen in Canada. So we have communism coming to Toronto now, even more so, with government-owned grocery stores.
Did you jaywalk recently? You may not be able to buy bacon.
Like I get it. Groceries are getting ridiculously expensive, as we talked to earlier today and in
Okay,
other
but
previous episodes.
the
But
second you start involving government and being like, well, government will absorb the cost to make it cheaper for
yeah,
you, just means I pay more in fucking taxes.
yeah.
Or we get in greater deficit, which
Well,
we can talk
so
about the whole CPP Ponzi
yeah,
scheme that we're in
yeah,
now that you and me are paying
yeah,
CPP for people that are on CPP, but you and me will
yeah.
never see
We'll never see a
CPP.
penny of that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, but so
So like,
here's the thing. So the government when weed was legalized in Ontario,
yes,
the Ontario government had a monopoly on legal weed sales. There were
yes.
no stores, nothing other than the official OCS.
Unless you were on a reserve.
Yeah, that's different. And that wasn't
Yeah.
allowed. That was just nobody wanted to do anything because they'd have
Yeah.
to go and
Well,
arrest natives, which is not popular in
they
public
couldn't
opinion.
legally go and do it,
But
technically.
when they first did that, you are the only legal source of weed in the province.
Yes.
They lost money. How do you lose money
Bro.
selling drugs when you are the only source of legal drugs? So how do
And
you think?
and you and you
Yeah.
can't get high on your own supply at that point.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've
Like, yeah,
met
if you
shitty
like,
drug
yeah, yeah, yeah,
dealers
yeah, like
that'll
that can
like buy
happen,
an
right? Like,
ounce,
yeah,
smoke 3/4 of it, and then be upset they
yeah,
didn't make recover on a quarter of it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. But they can't do that.
yeah,
And
no.
they lost
So
money. And here we
yeah,
have, I mean, that was the provincial government, but like still, government
yeah,
couldn't make money selling weed. And now they think that Toronto, an even shittier form of government, is going to be
yes.
successful at running three grocery stores. Like, how do you run a grocery store
Three.
for not for profit?
Like
Like, that is
uh,
impossible to say or do because
like
they need to buy groceries and sell them and then pay their employees. So there's like some fixed costing in there, like in terms of
yeah.
like
How much
rent,
is minimum
hydro,
wage now?
wages, and all of that. Minimum wage is what, 16 something an hour? I can't remember.
17?
17? I don't know. It's too
Yeah,
high, but
like we're
whatever it
talking
is, right?
expensive.
Like there's going to be that. But like
Yeah,
you can't control how much food gets sold through the grocery store. So it may make a
no.
profit. So what are they going to do with that surplus money? Is it going to
We're
go
gonna
into the
give it to
community somehow?
Ukraine?
Is it going to like
No,
lower the city's taxes because they won't need it somehow?
no.
Like
Is it
how do they plan?
Ukraine?
Yeah,
Gaza?
how do they plan to do this? And like you now
No,
have three grocery stores that are owned by this municipal corporation. Well, there's no buying power when you only own three grocery stores. The reason that like big
no.
giant grocery stores can sell things for what they do is because they buy in giant
Yeah,
bulk orders
yeah.
and it
There's a
like,
reason I love Costco.
ah, right?
Costco has a giant buying power,
Yeah,
and I can get chicken for cheaper than Walmart
yeah.
because
They
Costco is
somehow, yeah,
bigger, or
thank,
vice versa for anything.
yeah, they somehow think that they are going to be able to run these grocery stores to solve this food
I mean,
crisis that's going on, which I agree, there is definitely a crisis going on in
yeah,
the price of groceries.
I don't disagree with that. I just
But
don't think government getting
did
into the mix of it
yeah,
is going to
did they
solve
ever think
anything.
about maybe cutting, I don't know, taxes? Like, why
Yeah,
is it like the cause of a lot of this stuff is government, and then somehow the solution to this is more government?
yeah.
Like,
Like, I just got paid out a bonus while I was on vacation for our anniversary, and I I did the math. I was like, why is 45% of my bonus
well,
being taxed? Why? Because it's a bonus, right? So
yes, but it's still
it's a
income, and that's the
yeah,
problem.
it's income, but it's also taxed differently than my regular income because it's considered a bonus.
Yeah,
So I'm like, oh, so my boss called me, said, "Hey, your bonus is gonna be $1,000."
yeah,
And then I wake up on the day that I get my money, and I'm like, why do I only have $560 in my account? Oh, because it's a different tax bracket because it's a bonus.
yeah,
And I'm like, then like I just don't tell me how much I'm gonna get. It'll just be a surprise when I log into my bank
yeah.
account.
I'll be less angry if I
Like,
know what I was supposed to
yeah,
get
yeah,
versus what I
yeah.
did get.
Yeah, I'll just
Yeah,
log in and be like, "Oh, I got $500. I'm good."
yeah,
Right? I
yeah.
don't need to know
And
it was supposed to be 1,000.
yeah,
Right?
and,
Like,
and here I am being in disbelief that I'm agreeing with a Vancouver city councilor. Um, they've said
yeah,
that
right?
grocery is a tough business and it requires specialized expertise in logistics, supply chain, and retail operations that cities don't have.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Our role at
y-
the municipal level is best focused on creating the conditions for businesses to succeed and for residents to have access to affordable groceries, which is exactly what I said,
yeah,
but more
um,
worded. Tax cuts.
you're,
Make it more
yeah,
favorable for businesses. They won't need to
so,
have ridiculous profits because it will be less expensive for them to operate.
so not even that, right? So like, um, so one of my daughter's friends, she hasn't talked to in a while or whatever. Her parents, excuse me, own a full out licensed organic farm.
Yeah.
No nothing. Best cherry tomatoes you will ever have. Best eggs, best lettuce, but you name vegetable they sell, guarantee you best you will ever buy in any grocery store. Maybe $1 more than the grocery store, which nowadays can be a deal breaker. Let's be honest. But how about we incentivize things like that? Where I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I can buy strawberries very cheap in strawberry season, but now I need to import strawberries from Mexico, and they have a giant property. They have 5 giant greenhouses. And I'm like, hey, why don't you grow stuff in the winter? Right? Like we flat out asked. Myself and Mel have asked, like, hey, why don't you grow? Let it like let's just go with the simples. Lettuce, cucumbers, tomatoes, and peppers. Let's just keep it simple. Shit, everybody will fucking eat. And they were like, yeah, it costs too much to heat those dome things that they were
Yeah.
like, we're not going to make money. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, how about we figure out how to incentivize those things compared to me buying stuff or cucumbers from Mexico? I would prefer 100% buying from 3, 4 kilometers from my house tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuce, and peppers year round. Don't care if it costs me $3 more than anywhere else. 100% support that. But the infrastructure is not there. They were like, for us to keep it to the temperature we need, right? They have 5 greenhouses, so they were like, we can do one lettuce, one of all the things I just said.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but they said in the second November hits, you'd be paying $25 for a head
Yeah.
of lettuce.
Well, yeah, and this is
Like,
the thing I think that a lot of people forget. Like, uh,
yeah,
grocery stores need to make money to be able to
yeah,
survive and do a
I don't
profit and
disagree.
pay all the people and like the people that put in the money to open the store. And there's a lot of overhead.
Yeah,
All of that needs to be covered for. And like, okay, could they maybe reduce their profits a little bit? Sure. But why are we not complaining about every other private business out there
yeah,
that also make like I
yeah.
get it, like we need to
Why
eat,
should
but
you
like
not?
groceries is different than
Yeah,
buying like a pair of Air Jordans that can charge whatever. But like,
yeah, yeah. Right, but I mean, if you're gonna scrutinize the grocery store, why should you
but
not make less money selling a cart
yeah,
for the
right.
company
Like
you
we
work
need
for?
those
Like
things
for what
too.
you're
And like
like,
if
like
it's not profitable to run a grocery store, no one's gonna run a grocery store and then there won't be any at all.
yeah.
So
Which now we're getting to the point
yeah,
where I'm holding my neighbor hostage for her
yeah,
tomatoes.
exactly.
Right? Like,
But yeah, I don't think this is
yeah,
gonna like if you
it's
can't make money selling weed, how are you gonna make money selling groceries when you don't have a fucking
yeah,
clue what you're doing?
yeah.
Um, this one I just kind of find funny here. Ahead of the World Cup, ICE says its agents don't carry guns in Canada. So
Well, we
ICE,
don't have ice in Canada.
we do though. They have offices in Toronto and Vancouver.
Okay, so we don't have Canadian ice agents.
Well, no,
We
there are
have
American
offices.
American ICE agents in Canada, in Toronto and Vancouver, because there
Yeah,
are some things relating to immigration that they're required to do in Canada, much like we have, other people on the US side for things that we do and everything else. And like, American border agents, when you go through Toronto airport, there's a whole customs thing. You clear US customs in
in Toronto,
Canada.
yeah.
Those people don't live in the US and commute in every day. They live in Canada, but they are
Don't you hate
Americans.
how they give you an hour
Yeah,
transition flight, but it takes 2 hours to go through fucking
yeah,
customs? Did you miss your
yeah,
connection?
absolutely
Fuck, I
ridiculous.
hate that
But that has been a thing that has been going on for
for
forever.
years. Yeah.
And though, like, and I think it's ridiculous, but those border agents do not carry guns in the airport. The Canadian police and border service people carry guns, but the Americans do not for whatever reason. So I
At
don't see why this
airports.
would be any different.
Yeah, at
They are,
airports because they
yeah,
do carry them at border crossings,
yes, but they are on the American side,
quote unquote.
right? Like the American agents are right at the border on the American side, and the
Yeah,
Canadian
and
ones
the
are on the Canadian.
Canadian side, like they're right on the
Yeah, yeah,
border, so
yeah.
I'm like,
But
yeah,
they
okay.
are on their prospective sides, whereas like the border in the airport is well into Canada, depending on where the airport is.
Yeah, but also it
But it
all
is
depends.
considered,
Like
yeah, it is considered
it's a
American
considered
soil,
American soil, so would
but
be
as
no
a
different than going
courtesy,
into the
they,
American
yeah,
embassy on Canadian
yes,
soil,
but
right? Like,
they American border agents in Canadian airports, even when they are on the American side, do not carry firearms, which I think is
yeah,
ridiculous, but that's the way that
yeah,
it is.
yeah. But also, they should have mags that are restricted to 10.
Well, the cops are here aren't, so I would have no problem with it.
Yeah, no.
But if
I mean,
anyone, if I mean, if anything, it should be everyone follows the same rules. But
yep,
that would be
same
a
rules.
country that makes sense. But so
Yeah,
I understand why there are ICE agents here, just like we likely have agents of ours in the
CBSA
US side in
agents
certain
there. Yeah,
prominent places because there's like cross-border stuff.
yeah.
But it's funny that
I
everyone is making a massive stink about this because of everything that's gone on recently in the US.
well, yeah,
But meanwhile, we have
because
like Chinese secret police offices in many cities across the country and
we have
interfering with our
way
elections,
we
but
have way
nobody
more of
gives a
those.
shit about those.
We have way more of those than ICE agents in Canada.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you.
Yeah.
And I don't even know the stats, and I'm
But
willing to bet quite a bit.
yes, um, these ICE agents are assigned to the US Embassy in Ottawa and US consulates in Calgary, Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal, which makes sense. So those are places where
Those are
Americans
big places.
are there, and like ICE deals with border stuff and immigration stuff. So that's where people would be going to seek asylum and do all of the things. So it makes sense that there are agents there that handle this. But
Yeah,
everyone is getting butthurt because, with
it's
the World
ICE.
Cup coming,
It's ICE. And, Trump is bad.
yeah, and
And he's the
Cracky Chan,
devil.
aka Olivia Chow, is against the presence of them at the World Cup game. But like, whatever, like they're part of the security team involved in the US side of things. So we
Yeah,
can't really tell them not to.
no, no. I mean, we can. It's just
Yeah.
tactically should go well.
But yes, because of everything that's going on in the States or that went on where they had some shootings of
But
some people that
also,
may or may not have deserved it,
but
everyone's butthurt
also,
about it.
Trump is president and Carney is our prime minister, so
Yeah.
we should probably just agree with whatever they say,
But yeah.
according to the stats I've looked
But yeah,
to
everyone's butthurt
looked at.
about all of this, but give zero shits about the Chinese secret police that are spying on people and potentially
We're
assassinating
not
people.
gonna talk about that,
Yeah. Well, no, because
right?
then we'll get assassinated.
Because it's
Uh,
not French or English, right?
yeah,
Like it's not Air Canada stuff.
yeah, exactly. One last one here because I just thought this was funny. Yukon man grows pineapple at home, and it only took 9 years. So
I
apparently, if
mean,
you're patient, good things will come to you, says Alex Oberg of Whitehorse.
I mean, I will say I haven't even read this article, but I will say a motherfucker's got better patience than me.
Yeah,
Like you have no idea how much shit I
yeah.
want to throw out after a year,
So
let
yes,
alone 9.
apparently it is 9 years since he adopted the leafy pineapple crown that some friends had rooted in water until it was finally able to bite into a golden homegrown fruit.
Hey, I mean, end of day,
Well,
you don't need pineapple to survive. Pineapple
no,
is nice if you need to survive. Like you need toilet paper, you need good water, you need proteins. I mean, give or take, depending which diet you follow, carbs, rice,
what,
potatoes, onions, right? You can survive on just potatoes, not even meat.
what,
But if you want to take all that into consideration and you want to take 9 years to grow a pineapple to like cook a Hawaiian pizza for 5 days straight, have at it.
yeah,
Do it. Yeah, I
yeah,
don't I don't disagree with it.
yeah. But apparently he is not the only Yukoner to grow a pineapple. A few years ago, a man in Dawson City, which is even further north, grew a couple of hefty pineapples in his off-grid cabin, but it didn't
Shit,
take
I
him
gotta
nine.
talk to
It didn't take him
I,
9 years.
I
But
gotta talk to my brother. He lived in Dawson City.
yeah,
Like,
ask him if he knows the pineapple guy. But yes,
yeah,
this
I gotta
guy
ask
here in
him.
the Yukon here in Whitehorse grew what looks to be roughly a fist-sized pineapple. Apparently, he has saved the crown from this pineapple and is going to plant it to hopefully grow another pineapple. So kudos
Yeah,
to this
and
guy and his
yeah,
ridiculous commitment to growing a fucking pineapple.
yeah,
And
and I mean,
hopefully his second one you know.
like, I get it. I love cantaloupe. I will never grow a cantaloupe tree anywhere I fucking live, but I love it. I'll eat a fucking cantaloupe for breakfast. Love it. Don't like honeydew. Don't like pineapple. Don't like almost all other fruits. Cantaloupe, I'll eat the shit out of it.
Mhm.
But it takes me 9 years to have like a best breakfast ever. I'll do it.
All right,
But,
there you go. You heard it here, folks. Pierre's going to plant himself a cantaloupe and
but
grow it. And 9 years from
yeah,
now,
I'm gonna
if
have a
if
breakfast
we aren't
and
in
we're
the
gonna have a
re-education
wicked.
camps, yeah,
Yeah,
tell you all
if
about
we're,
it.
yeah, yeah, if we're not in those camps by then, but
Yeah,
that will be one.
you
What
you
did you do
here.
this week? I
Yeah.
ate a fucking cantaloupe from a tree I
Well, for
planted
nine
nine
years,
years ago.
the Patriot Challenge will be I'm still working on growing my cantaloupe, and then finally one day it'll be I ate that cantaloupe, and it'll be all
Yeah,
worth it.
like
Yeah. So
right, it's a
yeah,
thing,
stay
right?
tuned
But
for the
I mean,
next 9 years.
yeah. Episode 1000. I finally got my cantaloupe, bitches.
Yeah.
Um,
All
yeah,
right.
but I mean, up there, growing. I mean, 9 years, way more patient than I am.
Yeah, that's a long fucking
Like
time.
but hey, out of all of the things, you were like, no, I'm gonna do this. See if we can do it. Fine, it took
Uh,
9 years. Hey, 9 years probably cost them next to nothing.
yeah,
What's water cost up there? Melt some snow.
just 9 years of his time.
Yeah, just 9 years, but like, what did it cost, right? Like watering it every fucking week or two.
Well,
You can probably keep enough snow in your freezer for that it costs you nothing. Get all the bacteria out of it or whatever. Like it took 9 years. How much do you think a pineapple costs in Yukon?
probably a lot.
Probably 4 or 5 times more than what we're paying now.
Yeah.
So to put no money in and a little bit of effort of, oh, I gotta put water, this, that, every week there's something to do with it. Way better, which is what we're working on. We've got 2 dehydrators. We're gonna work on tomatoes, apples, and dried veggies. You go buy garlic at the store, right? Where it's granulated, this, that, onion, paprika, all the things. Hey, let's try and bring that in-house. This summer, fall, grow everything, dry everything. We've got a mortar and pestle thing. We've got a grinder of some sort. You do. It's gonna
What?
taste better because it came from home and all these things compared to Clubhouse saying it's organic.
Yep. Well, that's everything for this week. So when you're not here, where can people find you and or find your other half, who I see is now listening to the show, and
Oh,
buy
is
one of
she?
her fancy cups?
Oh shit, I didn't notice she was listening. Oh fuck yeah, she's there. All right, so off the wall customizing. I don't know if there's another email, but you can buy these really cool gay fancy cups.
There you go.
And I say that in the straightest way possible. She does fantastic at them and all this stuff. I, she has it as manifest as sip, manifest and sip
There you
through
go.
off the walls customizing.
Yeah.
She'll do
Reach out.
lives
Get maybe
on.
she'll do a CPP cup for you.
Um, yeah, we can probably do that. You can find me here. You can find me on the Discord. And if we ever get back to the other CPP, I'll probably be there as well. But we haven't done that in a while.
Well, there you go. That's all right.
Um, off
Eventually.
the off the wall customizing at Gmail. Just go there and you'll
But
talk to my wife way before me, and everything
there you
we
go.
offer, she has the info on it.
She'll get you sorted on whatever you need.
Yeah, she will. She'll get you hooked
Excellent.
up, even if I have to reach out to you.
Perfect. You can find me typically on Instagram, UrbexGTA. There's also some fun things coming up in the Toronto area. Um,
Uh,
my buddy Ace from Delta 2 Alpha and my
ooh.
buddy Boris from True North Craycraft are doing cowboy karate at the beginning of May in Toronto. Sign up if you want to learn fun uh, Alberta boy ways to defend yourself. I will be there for probably at least the first day. I think I have something on the second day, but I'll at least be there to say hello to people. But you should check that out. It'll be a fun time. Apologies to Rod.
Yeah,
Him and I did connect at the Sportsman Show, and we had a
that's
plan in
good.
place. But then, like, he was going to be on last week, but then the ceiling exploded and all of that, so we had to cancel that. And he's busy this week, but we're going to try to figure it out. The CCFR AGM is actually going to be here in Mississauga, so maybe I'll
Ooh.
get to do something then, but we'll see. He might be busy then. But either way, I will be at the dinner for the AGM.
If you could just get a selfie with them and post it on
I'll
the
see what I can
Discord.
do. There you go. I will see what I can do just to prove that we are in the same room together and that we are working on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I promise though, we are working on it. Um, I'd like to remind everybody though that you are a small fringe minority with unacceptable pineapples.